I should add myself on stage. What's going on, everyone? Welcome to ThursdAI, the weekly AI show that brings you all of the latest and greatest AI news, including those that launched just this morning, which we have a bunch of. And as I promised before, when I just started the show on Twitter stream, we have to open up this show with the breaking news one, because some things are happening. AI breaking news coming at you only on ThursdAI. I don't believe that I ever opened the show and immediately breaking news, but we have to because while we got excited about Grok 4 last night, we had multiple drops from just this morning. Some of them that we'll cover on the show today. Maybe we'll have friends from those labs to join us as well. So we have breaking news from LiquidAI. They launched LFM2, Liquid Foundation Models, fastest, most efficient open source edge LLMs based on their kind of like specific architecture. And we also got Mistral dropping Devstral Small 1.1 and Devstral Medium. And they succeeded on the SWE-bench verified benchmark, and they got like 61.6, which is, I think, 10% more than Deep SWE that we just talked about last week. So that's very, very impressive, and all from this morning. So yeah, definitely open breaking news here. And also, we could consider last night's show also breaking news because some of you weren't there. We covered the Grok 4 release that just dropped less than 12 hours ago. I think, in fact, exactly 12 hours ago. Elon Musk and the X.AI team, who never sleeps and they sleep in tents, they came on the live stream and talked about the Grok 4 release. So we're going to cover all of this. Meanwhile, I will say welcome to everyone to ThursdAI. ThursdAI is the place where you get your AI news weekly. We try to cover everything. As some of our followers know, we try to cover everything, including the Chinese open source models. There's a lot of them, including the regular open source models, including big companies and APIs and updates, including different things like Grok going crazy and Nazi. We're going to cover that as well. And with me to help me cover all of this, because it's impossible for one man to go it alone, I have co-hosts. So welcome Wolfram Ravenwolf, LDJ, and Jan Peleg, and we're gonna have a bunch of other guests. Folks, let's do the opening, the regular opening, just so folks get to know the host as well. Let's start with Wolfram. Maybe say hi to the folks and give a brief intro, and then what was your favorite AI thing from this week?
Hello, everyone. I'm Wolfram Ravenwolf, AI evangelist and evaluator at Elamind, a German company. So I've been known for my evaluations and reports and postings and stuff like that on Reddit and X nowadays, HuggingFace and co. So the most exciting for me, well, I'm very excited about what HuggingFace actually released, both the model and the robot I pre-ordered already. But the biggest splash is, of course, what Grok 4 is and means. So that is the biggest one, of course. But there has been so much going on, and especially the open source thing. So big applause for me for releasing data sets and stuff like that, which we don't get with the big releases. So kudos to HuggingFace, and yeah, great week. Excellent.
Excellent week. And then next up, we have Jan Peleg coming through a little pixelated, but hopefully we can hear you. Jan,
really?
Welcome. What's up?
Really? Not
we
looking
can hear
good.
You well,
not looking good. All right. Elon Musk destroying the entire market, releasing the most powerful AI model in the world out of nowhere. Nothing can top this. Come on, guys. The numbers are not like you would assume. Okay, we know Grok 4 was coming, so you would assume, okay, it's gonna be, I don't know, maybe something like Sonnet, something like Opus, something like O3, so on, because most of them, they have their strength and weaknesses and so on. But, the ballpark, they're all really good, okay? For different use cases. Absolutely not. It's just better in everything, with a huge margin.
Just
absolutely no one saw this coming. This is unprecedented jump in performance. Wow, absolutely impressive. X.AI did an amazing release. Absolutely.
We're gonna definitely cover this more. We're gonna talk to you guys about what context length windows. We're going to talk to you about all the technicals, the new pricing for the new plan. We're going to talk about everything. Definitely was a big release. LDJ, welcome to the stage. Thank you for joining yesterday as well. We had a live stream yesterday. We restreamed the official X.AI stream. We had like 15,000 folks in Twitter space and like 10,000 folks on the video. We had a party last night. We had everyone. Robert was here. And
I can't
LDJ.
believe I wasn't there. I can't believe, man, the FOMO. I can't believe I wasn't there, man.
I was sleeping.
Yeah, folks.
Damn it.
That's what happens. All right, LDJ, what was your highlight of the week? What are you looking forward to from this highlight? And then we can get started with the TLDR.
Yeah, highlight of the week, I'd have to say pretty much just yesterday, there was two really interesting things. Of course, we have Grok 4, and then the lesser known thing, which I'm sure we'll cover later in this show, is the Perplexity browser called Comet.
Yep.
And
that's probably the other most interesting thing I've seen this week.
100%.
Starting a new category. This new category of products. Absolutely interesting. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We reached out to Perplexity, maybe Alex Gravely, who originally started the Copilot at GitHub and then worked on Minion and then got, I think, acquired into Perplexity. So shout out to Alex Gravely. Hopefully he'll be able to join us to talk about Comet. And we're definitely going to chat about Comet. Comet is incredible. Agentic browser. And we're going to also mention the OpenAI is about to release a browser as well at some point. All right, folks. I think it's a good enough intro. What do you guys think? Let's do the TLDR. What do you guys think? TLDR time. All righty, folks. This is the TLDR, the section in ThursdAI for July 10th, where we talk about everything that's we're gonna talk about. Basically, this is the brief news summary for you. If you don't have the 2 hours to sit with us and dive into each topic, just so you know that everything that's what's going to happen. First of all, just to mention again, my name is Alex Volkov. I'm an AI evangelist with Weights and Biases. I'm the host of ThursdAI for the past 2.5 years. I'm going to lead the stream with me, co-host Wolf from Ravenwolf, Jan Peleg, and LDJ. And we will have guests today. We'll have Eli Bakuch from HuggingFace talk to us about SmolLM, and we're going to have Mattia Atzeni, the member of technical staff at Reka, join us and talk about RekaVision that they just launched, and that's also super cool. We may have some surprise guests as well. We've invited Maxime Lebon from LiquidAI to talk about their small models, and Maxime may join us in a minute as well. So we will have a party on the stream for sure. So more than welcome to join us throughout the stream. But if you don't have time, here's the TLDR. So in open source LLMs, our favorite corner, we'll start it this week with HuggingFace releasing SmolLM, a state-of-the-art small foundation model, fully open source, 3 billion parameter, dual mode reasoning model with long context support. We're going to have, as I said, Elie with us to talk about this. And then also breaking news from this literally 30 minutes ago, LiquidAI, a company that we've talked about a bunch with our friends of the pod, Maxime, releasing LFM2, Liquid Foundation Models 2. They call them the fastest, most efficient open source edge models. So they're great on CPUs, and they have multiple other things with sizes like 350 million and all the way up to 1.2 billion parameters. So very small models. HuggingFace has not been quiet this week at all, and they've also stepped heavily into robotics. HuggingFace previously purchased Pollen Robotics, and HuggingFace announced an actual physical product. Yeah, HuggingFace, the place where you go to host models. Now you can go and buy a robot to your household, and I think, Wolfram, you bought one. So we're going to definitely talk about Ritchie Mini. It's a HuggingFace open source model, open source robot that sits in your house with a bunch of cameras, and you can buy it for $299, and you can program it with your kids. It's going to be super cool. We definitely need to talk about this because robotics is coming, and it's best when you code your own robots, and we'll tell you why later. Microsoft also hasn't been sleeping. I think they released multiple models, but they released this interesting fine-tune of Nextcoder 32B, which they fine-tuned Quen. We should at least mention this, though I don't think we're going to get very deep. And also, our friends from Mistral, also in breaking news, released Devstral Small. Devstral is a model we covered before. This one is 1.1. Devstral Small 1.1 and Devstral Medium, showing very good results on SweBench Verified. Very good results. When you talk about very good results, almost 10 points better than what we talked to you about state of the art last week for open source models. So very, very interesting release. Super quick from Mistral. This is most of what I have on my docket for open source. Because we have guests today, we're going to focus on these. There has been more. Though I will say, not a lot of like Chinese folks. Last week, it was a bunch of Chinese folks. Then we're going to continue to big companies and APIs, in which the main topic of this week, and everybody was expecting, unless Logan Kilpatrick is going to release some Gemini 3 just today, just because he wants to steal the thunder. X.AI announced a live stream, and X.AI released Grok 4 and Grok 4 Heavy yesterday. Those are by far the best models, reasoning-wise, that we've seen on benchmarks and on reasoning and also on price, $300 a month. We're going to talk about the launch party that we had yesterday with 15,000 people in the live stream. We just joined, and we're going to talk to you about all of the features and the excitement and the insane reinforcement learning stack that they added to Grok 4. It's just absolutely unprecedented. And the GPUs, basically, we're going to celebrate, as we always do, the big kahuna, the big LLM, the biggest one that we have yet. As we did for the past 2.5 years. Every time there's a new model, we're going to celebrate this. We're also going to mention, because we're fair, that just before this insane release, and kudos to the X.AI team, Grok 3 went full Nazi on Twitter, which is insane. Called like literally Nazi. I'm not like making a hyperbole out of this. It called itself like Mecha Hitler and started like spewing some anti-Semitic propaganda. I did not love this, and we should definitely mention why this is the third time where Grok specifically goes nuts. We should definitely talk about this, because it's been crazy. And folks, there's one thing of moving fast and giving us the best models, but there's also like, hey, come on, like this is the third time. So we're definitely going to mention this. All small potatoes from the big labs. It looks like they all gave Elon his like time in the sun. So nothing major from OpenAI besides finally signing the deal with IO with Johnny Ive, and also rumored that the open source model is going to come next week. That's a rumor. We should definitely cover this. And also another rumor, they may have an agentic browser coming, kind of like what the other folks have done. On also small potatoes, Gemini had a batch mode in API with 50% cost savings. And I think that's mostly it from the big companies. I would say we also have a corner called This Week's Buzz, where I cover everything that happens in Weights and Biases. Folks, our hackathon is this weekend. If you're in San Francisco, come through. We have still last places. I will tell you this one small tidbit. I went to search what is the best conference and hackathon swag, and I went to Grok Deep Research, and I asked it, hey, what is the best hackathon swag that people talk about? And Grok cited me and Weights and Biases and my post about, hey, people are talking about Weights and Biases having the best swag. So it was a really funny anecdote to get myself cited in the research. Never happened to me before, I think. So definitely come through our swag. We're going to have a RoboDog for the winners. We're going to have a bunch of sponsors. Definitely worth participating. Unfortunately, in face only. So you cannot do this remotely. But we'll cover this remotely. In vision and video, a category where we cover vision models and video models as well. We kind of like lump them together. We're having a RekaVision. Reka is a company out of I think out of Japan. We talked about Reka multiple times before. Probably not from Japan. I'm confusing it with
Singapore.
In Singapore, yeah, thank you. And we have RekaVision, multimodal agent for visual understanding. We previously talked about Reka Flash and multiple vision-enabled features that they have. This one is very cool. They can watch videos. We're going to chat with folks from Reka, with Mattia from Reka about this. It's going to be very interesting. We mentioned previously the video models scene exploding. LTX video out of Israel is Litrix is one of the like top open source leading ones. They launched 3 new open source LoRa's for their LTX video, Pose, Depth, and Canny. So we're going to mention this. And we also have a new video model from Moon Valley called Mary. And this one is supposedly licensed AI tool based on copyrighted trained, so well trained on copyrighted data that they've paid for. So basically, Hollywood can like use this and not have folks say, "Hey, this is stealing," blah 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 blah. So we're gonna cover this as well. Nothing much in voice and audio, although we probably should mention Grok Voice in the voice and audio space because they kind of had two announcements, Grok and then Grok Voice, and not a lot of stuff in the AI art and diffusion. And then we gotta get to tools. And in tools, we don't cover tools a lot, but we're definitely cover this week because Perplexity launched the Comet browser, their agentic AI-powered browser for productivity that can do stuff for you. So we talked about Dia from the browser company a little bit. That's also an AI-powered browser. Perplexity's Comet can actually do stuff. So I'm very excited to talk to you about this. And I think that this is it on my TLDR. Wolfram, Yam, LDJ, have I missed anything or should we start with the show?
We have a little bit more of sports betting, a little bit of a little bit. Yeah, we have some poaching. Just as usual, it's starting to be usual at this point, but that's pretty much it.
All righty, folks. Then let's
hoping
get started
for
with
rumors.
open source.
Hoping for the rumors, pretty much.
All righty, let's start with open source. Open source AI, let's get it started. Let's get it started, folks. And in to cover the open source and the first release in our docket, we want to say welcome to Eli Bakuch. Am I pronouncing this correctly?
Yes.
Yes. Elie, welcome to the stage. I think this is your first time, but definitely you're not the first of the company to join here. We had multiple folks from HuggingFace throughout the years. Welcome. Could you please, let's start with maybe a brief intro of what you do at HuggingFace, and then we'll cover what you guys released today.
Yeah, of course. So at HuggingFace, I'm working on like the pre-training team, and especially on the SmolLM project. We also have like a project to scale a bit those small models to larger one, and that's basically it.
Awesome. How long have you been with the company?
It's been a bit more than 1 year now.
Hell yeah. Let's go. And you get to release very, very cool things in a bit of more than 1 year. So let's talk about the release that you guys had. Folks, HuggingFace releases SmolLM3. It's a state-of-the-art open source, 3 billion parameter reasoning model. And it has long context support. And we're showing some graphics where they're basically performing on kind of a mix of benchmarks way higher than Qwen 2.5, 3 billion parameter. And also faster as well. So, Elie, let's start with maybe the rationale behind like SmolLM. Like, why does HuggingFace, as a company that hosts models but also builds robots? Also, we're gonna cover this. Why do you guys train models, and why small specifically? Why SmolLM? What is the reasoning behind this project?
Yeah, so when we started the pre-training initiative, so before there was all the star coder and coding model, and we decided to like start to build like most general pre-trained model. So we started this SmolLM series, and the idea that it was like mixing models that are fully open source with data, with pre-training code base, with evaluation framework, with everything basically. So there is of course the AI2 lab that are doing amazing things in this sector, but at the small scale there wasn't much people doing that. And also it was like easiest in terms of compute, of course, because like training small models is requiring less compute. And there is this idea where we decided to train very small models for very long and see what happened. And basically, if I remember correctly, like the SmolLM2 training, we were planning on training like for 4 trillion token. And we decided to just train for 12 trillion because basically the model kept on improving. So yeah, that's what we want. And also, of course, the on-device application that are huge for small models.
Yeah, and the previous SmolLMs, if I'm not mistaken, they were not reasoning, correct? This is the first reasoning model that you guys have?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, talk to us about kind of the challenges of adding reasoning to a model that you previously trained. Have you done a bunch of RL for this? Like, how does that happen?
So we didn't do RL on this one, and we kind of like probably like next iteration of it, we will do some RL because it's like working very well, of course. And also we decided to release it. So, there is like so much paper on RL nowadays, and they all take like Qwen 3 as a baseline.
Yeah.
And we're like, okay, let's release the model so that people can build on like also other stuff than Qwen 3 and see if it's improving as well. So that's one of the idea. And reasoning was kind of hard because we basically want to mix like the reasoning mode and the non-reasoning mode. So we had like different data sets, and there was like the reasoning data sets were very good at math, stuff like that. But for instruction following, for example, it was like very bad. So we had to generate some data. And it was kind of fun to do that. So I think the biggest challenge was like to mix the think and no think behavior into one model.
Yeah, so let's talk about this the dual like thinking mode.
Yeah.
Give us a little bit more information about like how does that happen? Is that while the model is like predicting tokens, or do I need to do it ahead of time?
Yeah, you need to do it ahead of time for now. So the idea is that you specify in the system prompt either if you want to think or no think, basically. You could also think of like some token budget forcing method that we could implement because like just happening like something like Qwen 3 did that. You can happen just like something to say like just like, okay, you think for enough time, just output the answer or no, So yeah, and we didn't need to do RL for this. We basically did SFT and a variant of DPO called APO, which is very similar to DPO, to be honest, just like more stable optimization objective. And we did also a lot of model merging. So when we did reasoning and like the post-training, so a big challenge of the pre-training was to get like long context. Was kind of fun actually. The long context.
Let's just mention the model supports up to 256K, which is a lot for a small model. This is like a very, very impressive long context. Yeah, go ahead.
So we decided to say 128 because the 256K is like, it's good, but not as good as we are expecting to be if we claim really to have this very long context. But I definitely think that it's like very not easy, but like it's very feasible to actually go beyond this value of 256, and we could even achieve like some 1 million maybe in the future for a small model, stuff like that. So that's something that we want to work on.
Breaking news, folks. You hear here first. HuggingFace is going to give us a 1 million context model. Sorry, Elie, go ahead. I just want to make sure the folks heard this. So now you're liable for this.
I shouldn't have said
It's all good. It's all good. It's all fun.
Heart attack. What a heart attack.
Yep.
No, yeah.
I said what? Yeah, go on.
No, I mean, that's it. So yeah, and when we did the post-training stuff, the reason, like the long context capabilities take like a big hit. And there was like this moment where basically we say, okay, so, I mean, that's like, we need to do something too, because the base model is good. So there is no reason why the instruct model is not good. And we did some kind of like, model merging.
You can talk about model merging. You can talk about merge kit, whatever you want. This is a technical podcast. Feel free to go as deep as you want. Yeah. This is the incident that you guys outlined on Twitter, right? Where like 2 a.m.
Exactly.
A day before release. Yeah,
exactly. So basically, we had like one very short SFT model that basically boosts the long context capabilities of our model. But this one was with another chat template, so very different like learning process and very different behavior, especially at Inference. And we have like this bad long context, but very good on other instruct benchmark. And like we are like, let's try to merge them together, And the first message that were like, okay, it's not gonna work, but yeah, should we try? And basically it worked very well. So we ended up using this approach for the final checkpoints and like kind of preserve this long context ability. So it was fun.
That's very interesting. So you're saying that the final model that we got the instruct model is a result of merging of two very successful different kind of approaches. One for long context and one like very good on instruct benchmarks.
Yeah, and the long the long context expert, as we call it, is just like some very quick super-fast fine-tuning without alignment, without nothing, just very quick super-fast fine-tuning, and it work quite well. So yeah,
that's awesome. I want to shout out you guys for open sourcing everything. Code data, the models are freely available. Obviously, the folks in HuggingFace going to open source, but still, we appreciate a lot. I have a thing here. We have. Where's my applause? Yeah. We shout out and applaud everybody who releases open source models. This is what we're here for. We love especially small models, so shout out to you guys as well. I also love, specifically for folks who are listening only, the blueprint that you guys released that we're watching on right now. There's like a bento box of all the capabilities. For me, somebody who covers this is incredible. So I can run through and say this is a 3 billion parameter model with long context, 256 tool use supports, code and JSON, dual reasoning mode with a Llama 3.2 tokenizer, post-training with SFT and APO, and GQA attention. 11 trillion tokens were streamed. This is all of these things is just like very there for me, but there's like a bunch more here. You guys talked about distributed training. You trained it on 48 nodes of can you talk about like the distributed training a little bit?
Yeah, so we have like an internal cluster at HuggingFace, and we have like I think 90. No, I'm saying something bad. I don't know, like 50, 60 nodes of H100, something like that. And we use 48 of them, maybe a bit more, actually. and yeah, it was quite a thing to train on like that much GPU. So we use this technique called tensor parallelism. Basically, you split your model on multiple GPU, and we have this pipeline where basically we save checkpoint to S3, then we evaluate it, and then we upload it to 1DB. Actually, we are going to release like the full 1DB report. You're gonna be happy.
Go! Let's go! I love hearing that, folks who are listening in. What the graphic that we're showing, what Elie is like telling us about, is that all the eval metrics, training metrics, and loss is getting sent to weights and biases, or folks called us 1DB. And I love when folks release the full traces as well. Many other labs can learn from loss curves and kind of the progress of the models training. So really appreciate this this is a Weights and Biases sponsored podcast, so this is definitely great to hear. Sorry, go ahead. I interrupted you.
Yeah, and we actually have like a lot more than just the loss throughput random. We have like per layer metric, per attention metric, stuff like that. So I hope people, to be honest, I had like 4,000, I think, plots in the 1DB reports, and yeah, so I hope people will dig into it and find some cool stuff. So it will be interesting for sure.
That's very awesome. All right, Elie, thank you so much. We have a very, very busy show. Otherwise, I would love to dig in with you about like everything, about how you got rope to scale the long context here. And we chatted with the rope folks here as well. And Yarn got it to like 128Ks. I would love to like chat with you. But I will just say that folks, these guys released a very detailed recipe on the model autonomy and the pre-training recipes and evaluations. Everything is a very nice, like beautiful card. So definitely go check this out. You guys also released data sets as well. Let me have you ask about this, and also shout out every person that you worked on that you wanted to highlight, and we'll probably end there. But definitely data sets. I would like to hear what's going on.
Yeah, so we develop our own data sets with the FineWeb initiative. We also have the FineMass, which is very high quality mass. Same for code and stuff like that. And we release everything, of course. So there is a collection on HuggingFace with all the data sets. We also use GTLM dataset and some datasets from NVIDIA and other provider, so which is kind of cool. And yeah, I think I'm not sure, you got Maxime next, and want to shout out him because they are doing also some amazing work, and they just open source like a very good model with also this hybrid architecture, which is very like essential for small models. And we are definitely also when we have time, we will look into that as well. So yeah, definitely. And I'll shout out also to all my teammates that are doing an amazing job. And yeah, that's it.
So I'll shout out a few of the folks that worked with you. We had Lubna Ben Alal that announced this as well. We have Louis Turnstall, right? And then VB, the friend of the pod, who also, he volunteered to come in if you couldn't come in as well. So we have VB over there. Folks, this is SmolLM3, a great model, open source fully from HuggingFace. Eli Bakuch, thank you so much for joining us. Folks, give him a follow and go try this model. It's incredible. Thank you, Eli, for joining us.
Thanks a lot for the invitation.
100%. Always welcome. Friend of the pod from now on. And then feel free to stick around with us because as you already presented, our next guest is here and they also have a breaking news model release. Friend of the pod, Maxime Lebon. I think, Maxime, first time in video. I don't think you've ever joined us since we moved into video format. So it's so great to see you here. Welcome to the show. First of all, Maxime, for folks who haven't seen or heard you before, could you give us a brief intro to who you are and what you do, and then we'll talk about the release that you guys had.
Sure. Thank you, Alex. So let me know if you can hear me well.
Yeah, coming through loud and clear.
Perfect. It's great to be here in video, so we can see our faces. So yeah, I work as the head of post-training at LiquidAI, and here what we do with this release is we released a series of models that are super efficient and really, really small. And
Maxime, sorry, I have to interrupt. I don't interrupt a lot of guests, but I do interrupt my friends. When you just mentioned the small thing that you do as a title, that's not enough. I want to know, and folks want to know who you are and what you built before you joined LiquidAI. Tell us about some of the stuff that you worked on, because I think it's very pertinent to why you're very good at your job.
Okay, perfect. Then if I have more time, I created the LLM course on GitHub. It has 57,000 stars to teach people about LLMs. I'm also heavily involved in everything related to model merging, fine-tuning. I released a bunch of articles on HuggingFace on my blog. I released some models on HuggingFace too, fine-tuned, but also crazy experiments with merges, with MOEs. And yeah, it's been a great time to do some post-training.
Yeah, most folks also cite this graphic that you built with open source models catching up on regular models, sometimes without attributing, sometimes with. But many people, many presentations have seen this, like open source catching up to foundational models. Well, that background, I will just say, Maxime, you've been joining us and you've been like on top of HuggingFace and open source models and merging a lot. We just heard a cool merging story from Eli as well, where like merging saved them last minute between two models. So super cool. And then since then you joined LiquidAI. Liquid, we talked about Liquid multiple times here. Head of post training, sorry, you said.
Yes.
Would love to hear from you about Liquid super quick. What is special about them? And then let's talk about the release of LFM2.
Yeah, so Liquid has the mission of creating super efficient models. So what we do is that we really try to improve the architecture of the models. Maybe it's to be closer to a hardware, so it's more efficient to run on it, or maybe it's to create new features. But we have this architecture design in our DNA, and this is how we created the new generation of LFM models.
Yep, LFM stands for Liquid Foundation Models, and you guys are releasing LFM2, which is kind of the second iteration, right? So talk to me about this release, what's cool about this, and let's dive in. I think it's very cool that you have like this hybrid approach.
Yeah, so we worked with a lot of companies over the past year, and we realized that they were all interested in having small models. They were all asking us to build some edge models, which was a bit surprising, honestly, because we tend to hear a lot about the frontier models. But this is what we did. We designed a new architecture to be as efficient as possible for these constrained environments and to deliver the best models for edge AI. So this is what this release is about. It's the result of all this work, all this research with customers, with partners, to be able to create the most efficient models, both in terms of speed and also in terms of quality.
Yep. And so we're looking at some evaluation benchmarks, but folks who are only listening to us, we're going to say, when you say small, you mean small. We're talking about 350 million as the smallest one. Million, not billion. So we have DeepSeek releasing 657 billion parameters MOEs. You're releasing a small model, 350 million parameters. Basically, can run on device in the browser. Very, very, very small model, all the way up to 1.2 billion parameters. And let's talk about some evaluations. What are you trying to achieve here? Who is kind of the competing models at this range? Even like it looks like you're punching above your weight with the 700 million model.
Yeah, absolutely. So you just heard about SmolLM3, and that's a big model compared to those.
And
Shout out to the team at HuggingFace, by the way. They've done like incredible work too. So it's really great to see what they achieved. Here, indeed, we have 350 million, 700 million, and 1.2B parameter models. And the competitor models are Qwen3, of course, 0.6B, but also 1.7B. We also have Gemma 3 with 1B, and the old Llama 3.2 1B instruct. But what we try to achieve here is to treat these small models as a first-class citizen. So it's not just a smaller version of bigger models. No, like they were like really designed for this exact purpose. And I think this is why we can achieve this performance, both in terms of speed and also in terms of quality, because everything was designed for this specific purpose.
Yep. I want to open this up because I know, Yam, you must have some questions. LDJ, you must have some questions. And Maxime, also feel free, as a friend of the pod, to bring up the most interesting tidbits during working on this, as much as you can. I don't know how open you like HuggingFace, they're open like on purpose. You guys are also working with like companies directly and probably providing them. So some of the stuff you may not be able to talk about, but feel free to tell us like the most interesting aspects of this model for sure. Because you beat the Qwen models, and this is now the second time in a row on the show that we have models that are not trained somewhere in China. Though I do hear a French accent before, and now I do hear another French accent. So gotta say, at least that's on point. But all these models beat Qwen. The LFM 1.2. On your benchmark average beats Llama 3.2 by a significant margin. And Llama 3.2, when it released, was like a very dope, like small model as well. So very, very impressive results out of the gate. Let's talk about licensing. I have a note here that my helpful AI made, not myself, and says some licensing caveats. So maybe let's talk about licensing.
Sure. So the license is permissive with a threshold. The threshold is $10 million in revenue. So like if you're under this amount, which is like really most people in the world, this is really open source. And otherwise, we ask you to contact Liquid to talk about the license.
Yeah, that makes perfect sense. And I see some stuff about CPU specifically improvements and running on CPU, and many folks don't have access to like GPUs, although more and more probably have. Talk to me about the CPU kind of approach.
The CPU is really exciting because LLMs tend to be really exclusively optimized for GPUs, right? And it leaves a lot of room to make some crazy improvements on CPU. So we have graphs in the blog post if people are interested to see the difference in terms of performance that you have. So we measured it on a Samsung Galaxy S24. We measured it on AMD CPU. And here you can see that the models are much, much faster on CPU especially. So I think this is great if you have small models, because this is where Edge AI is usually deployed. It's on CPU, it's sometimes on NPU, but this is where you have like most of the models are deployed in the market currently.
Yep. And obviously, so not only the model performs better than other models, it's also optimized for small and like edge devices while also performing much better.
Yeah, I want to share something actually, because we have Wolfram here, and something that is pretty funny to me is that every time we train a new LFM model, we have our benchmarks and we have LLM as a judge, we have a lot of things like that. And every time what I realize is that the model really overperforms in terms of creative writing and role play. This is very consistent, and this time, like, I didn't share it here with the results, but this is a model that is really, really good in terms of role play and creative writing. So that was not our purpose in the first place, but this is something that is quite consistent with our data set.
Very cool. Makes it even more interesting to me.
I want to cover this last piece and then open up the floor for folks to ask you questions. You mentioned the last thing, and obviously as a proponent of open source and merge kit, like all of these things, having you post something without a Google collab is weird. You talk about you recommend fine-tuning these models. Let's talk about how fine-tunable, how malleable they are to do you guys release-only base? Do you instruct both? How does the fine-tuning community meet this? Which you're a big part of and came up. How does the fine-tuning community meet these models?
Yeah, it's an excellent question. So yeah, because the models are tiny, if you really use them like you would use ChatGPT, you're going to be extremely disappointed. Like they're too tiny to be able to answer complex questions, that kind of stuff. So what we recommend is really fine-tuning them for your use case. And here we've seen like a lot of improvements. Like if you fine-tune it on a translation task, for example, you can match the performance of models that are like 60 times bigger. So there's definitely a lot of improvements that you can get through fine-tuning. So we definitely recommend that. Right now, we only have post-trained models that are released, but they are fine-tunable. You can use them and fine-tune them. We will see later if we want to release the base models, but for now, we didn't see really any point in doing this. So this is an open question for later.
Interesting. So these are fine-tuned SFT models, but still fine-tunable and malleable to extremely fine-tunable. You're saying, all right, that's incredible, and I knew that's going to come. Jan, go ahead. Feel free to join this conversation and send everything that you have to Maxime.
Maxime, second time you drop an extremely powerful small model and not telling us how. Come on, guys, how did you do this? How do you do this? Give us something.
No, like this time, actually, everything is pretty much open. We talk a lot about the recipe, and then I think that there's like the thing that matters the most is actually data quality. It's how you do fine tuning, and here we use our custom DPO with length normalization, and I think those are the details that truly matters when you look at the overall performance of the model. And if you're interested into really the inference performance, we release all the architecture. It's open. You can definitely use it. You can create your own models with it. And now we are trying to we're working with partners to integrate it everywhere as much as possible in terms of fine-tuning libraries and in terms of inference backends.
You want to share a little bit about the novel aspects of the things that you developed? You've done an amazing thing. You can see the results. So, I mean, I know that we can read the paper, but maybe share with us. Give us something. It's interesting. I mean, you did a lot of very hard work that you put into this. So,
sure.
Yeah, only if you want, briefly.
No, for sure. So the models have a new architecture, and in this architecture, what we did is that we use convolution layers. So it's not a hybrid with SSMs; it's a hybrid with convolution and attention layers. So all these three models, they have 16 layers, among which you have 10 attention layers with GQA, group query attention, and you have 6 with this LFM2 convolution. So you can see in the video for people who watch the podcast the algorithm for the convolution. And this is really the backbone of the inference performance. In terms of quality, it's really about training, data quality, doing the right things. And for this, I really think that it's valuable to have previous experience. The experience that we got by training LFM V1 was really instrumental, was really essential to make LFM2 a success, because there are many pitfalls, there are many things that can go wrong, and here we were lucky to have this experience to guide us.
Yep.
Amazing.
This is why, by the way, folks, companies try to poach other companies and folks who build these models, because like Maxime, like you said, like your previous experience on a model is very instrumental to like how to do this next one, the pitfalls. You know them kind of by heart. Not all of them just like coded. You have to have the sense, and obviously that you guys have the sense with LFM models. Maxime, I want to ask last questions before we let you go. Be mindful of your time. Context length performance. We talked about license with context and multimodality in the future as well. This model is only text. Am I correct?
Yeah, absolutely. So this one is only text, but we definitely working. We have a multimodal team, and they make vision models and also audio models. And yeah, hopefully we can release more modalities in the future. In terms of context length, we currently have 32K context length. We try to support it as much as possible because these models are very small. We know that, it's not very useful to go up to 1 million context length. The quality will drop extremely fast.
Yeah.
So we're trying to provide the best quality possible, but we don't want to go overboard because that won't be very efficient.
Yeah, and we're seeing this drop in some of the graphs that you posted, specifically on like the Samsung Galaxy and the Edge devices. The drop is fairly significant from like 4,000 sequence length as well.
This is in terms of token per second, yes. In terms of inference speed, this drops because of the context length that needs to be processed.
Oh, so this is tokens per second. I'm not looking at evals. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right, Maxime, anything else that I haven't asked you about this model? Any kind of like a cool thing that happened during training that like you will learn for the bitter pill, bitter lessons? Anything else? Shout out to your team, maybe. We want to highlight the very awesome work that you guys did.
Yeah, like I want to thank everyone, especially my colleague team who worked on the DPO and also on evaluations and data. We're really not a big team compared to a lot of other companies, and what we managed to achieve is I'm really proud of it, and I think we will have a lot more releases in the future. So I'm really excited to be able to contribute to the open source community, and I would love to see people using these models and see the cool stuff that they build with them.
That's awesome, dude. Thank you so much for coming. Super quick as well, folks. This is breaking news. You guys released this like an hour ago. Maxime was awesome to like jump on the stream with us and just chat. Shout out to the whole team on Liquid that works and does incredible things for very small models, folks. We're talking about 350 million. That's nothing. If you told me that like models this size can perform this well, 2 years ago, I would say no, I don't believe. Like there's no way. Maxime, thank you so much for joining. As always, to the pod. Folks, check out Maxime's work. He has a bunch of educational content as well, great content, a bunch about merging
the best educational content. Absolutely, go check it out. Huge shout out.
So we'll add all of this to the show notes, and meanwhile we need to move on also to HuggingFace. Maxime, thank you so much for your time, folks. So we just covered two incredible small models, not from kind of the folks in China. We now have some competitors to the Qwen models and the Tencent models, especially in the small area. I'm very, very happy with like how well this is going. I will say that we're moving on to something also from HuggingFace, and Wolfram, I would love your help in helping me cover this, because HuggingFace, not only did they release a great like small model, and this is somewhat in the open source, not necessarily open source. HuggingFace released a Ritchie Mini, which is a HuggingFace and Poland Robotics, which is a company they purchased, launched a 299 open source desktop robot, and it looks super, super cute. I'm going to show this on the stream. We'll definitely also add this to the show notes. Wolfram, you ordered one? Tell me what's up. What's
Actually, I ordered two because they have two on the page. So there's a Ritchie Mini and there's a Ritchie Mini Lite. The Lite is available earlier, and that is the one that costs 299 plus taxes and shipping. So it was a bit more for me here. Yep. And this one is compatible with Mac and Linux, Windows soon, they say, and it doesn't have Wi-Fi. So that is a more, and it's only has a wired power supply. So you connect it that way. And otherwise, it doesn't have an accelerometer, but it's pretty similar. While, for example, the Ritchie Mini, the bigger version, has a Raspberry Pi 5 inside. Mm-hmm. And so it can be used wired and with a battery power supply, so it's standalone. And it has more microphones and an accelerometer. It does not have the ability to move on its own, but it is actually an open source system. So you get you build it yourself. You get the
kit, the Python kit, yeah.
Yeah, the set, and then you can program it yourself. And if it gets very popular, I think there will be a lot of add-ons. For example, something to move it. I can imagine this, and others can also do it. So it's an open system. For now, what we get here, okay, it's mainly a toy, something to experiment with. It's not a robot that will do your course at home. do your dishes or something like that.
Yeah.
But it's a great start. I'm getting it to have fun with my kids, to get them familiar with robotics. And yeah, I already plan to give it a little red wig and make Amy as part of a physical appearance that way. So my personal assistant. I also had the idea to make a RoboSapi and turn it into a AI-powered system. So this is actually, it didn't work out as I planned. So this is my next attempt. And if it works, yeah, it will be very cool. Great thing. And it's not very expensive. So it's like a Lego set, you can say, something like Lego Technics. Yeah, great gift, I think, for the nerds and the interested kids.
I think given the obvious future where humanoid robots are going to be everywhere, this is an incredible push from HuggingFace. We previously talked about their attempts at Le Robot, which is also kind of a French company that's also joined HuggingFace. I talked about, if you remember, the chef that we built, the robotic arm that we built, that was also the HuggingFace and Le Robot. I am very, very excited to see how much effort HuggingFace is putting in open source robotics specifically and the humanoids. I will say this one thing. I'm showing this on stream. This robot is like super cute. It has like a face with like 2 eyes, kind of looks like not Wall-E, the other one, the Big Hero 6 face. You guys know the robot? Like one is bigger, one smaller. There's like cameras in there. When HuggingFace purchased Poland Robotics, the picture that they had of the founders of Poland Robotics is hugging a humanoid robot, like humanoid-sized robot with this exact face. So this is why they call this Ritchie Mini, because that's a mini version. It only has the face and it stands on your desk. But basically, there is a humanoid robot like kind of behind this. And HuggingFace seems to be collecting all of the pieces to kind of get to the open source robotics future. And folks, we're going to talk about X.AI's thing going rogue on you after somebody changes shit again and goes Nazi. That doesn't happen for your local stuff. When you host the models and you host the robotics and you know the code, you are the guy who changes it and not somebody else in some lab. I think it's very, very important for many people being afraid of robotics in their home that you know the source code, you can go and patch everything. And obviously, Tesla Optimus, when it comes to your home, you're not going to be able to edit it. And this thing is going towards a fully open source robotics in your home. So very, very exciting. Like a Lego kit that you can assemble.
And even the small one here, if it's just standing there, since it's open source, you can do what you want with it, and it can become actually a physical representation of your assistant. We have been talking about what will OpenAI release as their device when it comes out, and there have been rumors about something to put in the room, and it sees everything, and you can talk to it. You could implement something like that with this. So it's open-ended. We will see what people come up with.
My idea immediately, though I didn't buy one and I need to buy one as well, although I heard that they sold out super quick of the first 100 batch and they got very, very surprised by the amount of people ordering this. My idea was to put it on a Roomba and then have Roomba just be the legs for it, because Roomba has an API. You can literally just like drive around. Jan, what's your thoughts on this? Are you getting one?
How do you do this as a side hustle? Like the full company is doing a completely different thing and all of a sudden pulling like a perfect move in robotics. Like, come on, that's impressive. How do you do this? How do you even start this at scale to sell to customers? It's not one robot, which you can, okay, that's a different thing. You're scaling a product, selling it to thousands of people. Come on. Where is this coming from? That's impressive. Absolutely new move.
That is called, my friend, merger and acquisition. They bought two companies full of folks that does this. But yeah, I agree with you. The company hosts models for a living. This is what they do. Obviously, they train models. We had Elie here before. They also train models. And now they're fully in robotics. I think, though, it fits very, very beautifully under the HuggingFace open source idea. With like open source everywhere. Because like this model, this robot has a brain. At some point, this brain needs to talk to you. How do you do this with open source models? Like the trend is clear, right? Like they're bringing the digital into the physical world.
Absolutely. I'm just saying that the shift is hard. The actual executing it is hard. Absolutely. I see the trend. I understand the idea. It's just, wait, you guys didn't do hardware a second ago. That's hard. That's all I'm saying. It's impressive and unexpected, kind of. to an extent.
So what can we expect from this model? It's a toy, but it's a learning toy. So you can HuggingFace on HuggingFace, you'd be able to like code it, and this is the kind of the demo that they're showing. Let me show you guys the demo super quick.
Mostly what we can expect is that it is the first, it is the prototype, and we're gonna see an improved and larger versions. I think that's the most important thing about it. Absolutely, it's a toy, you can use it, but I think the important thing is that there's gonna be a better one and a better one, and it's the start of a trend, I think.
Do you guys remember over Christmas that my kid got a toy from Magical Toys and also like a plushie embedded with LLMs? And my kid did not love this. I think the form factor there and kind of the latency was throwing her off specifically. And I think this form factor of an actual robot that you can talk to is way, way, way different, right? Because you can code this. You can like get folks excited. You can get kids excited about like, hey, you can do the stuff that you want to do with this thing versus this thing that like absolutely ignores what you're doing and doing like its own, hey, I can tell you fun facts, which is the most ridiculous thing. My kid was like, hey, I'm making, stuff for you. And that LLM plugged in basically a wrapper on top of LLM with a plushie this is a completely different thing. This is you build it from scratch. I remember there's 3D printers that you can order and build from scratch as well. And like, this is how kids get like excited because they feel it. It's kind of a Lego set. You build it with your own hands. Should I just get one? Dude, I should just get one, man. Absolutely get one. All righty, folks. I think that we're moving on. We should cover Mistral. Yeah, let's cover Devstral super quick, and then we're gonna be exactly at the 1 hour, and we're gonna move on to talk about the big things. So, folks, 2 other things that we have. The next coder was released from Microsoft, but also breaking news from this week, from today, we had Mistral update their Devstral Small and Devstral Medium, which is 2 models. And the cool thing about them is that they claim to break the Agentic performance Sweetbench verified from what we just saw, like even last week from DeepSweet. They're getting 61% on the Sweetbench verified, which is very impressive. Sweetbench verified, of course, is the mostly Python questions of the solve this variety, where like you need to submit a verifier patch. And we had we chatted with the DeepSweet, we chatted with Michael Luo last week from Agentica, from that explained to us how the Sweetbench verified works. And this is some impressive stuff, folks. Devstral Small 1.1. Obviously, Devstral was out already. Mistral is coming back with the Apache 2 license for the small one, and medium one only available via their API. Outperforms Gemini 2.5 Pro and GPT 4.1 at the fraction of a cost. Wolfram, as our always when we talk about Mistral, we have to like talk about the European agenda. But tell us what you think about this one.
Yeah, that is a great thing because Mistral is for us Europeans. It always has a special place, of course, and it's open source, so we can use it. And it gets very, very popular over here, of course. And now having a coding model for local use, that is very important for those who don't want or cannot or must not put their source code on the internet to the providers. So very high sensitive stuff. So I know companies that I'm not sending my source code out. It's my most important company secret, so it's not going out. So they need something local, and this is a great option.
Yep.
And it's small, it's fast, you can run it locally.
I love the commitment from Mistral. We've seen Mistral kind of like back away from open source a little bit and then come back. I love the commitment from Mistral, like releasing open source models. Devstral Small is an Apache 2 licensed model that you can get. It fits on a single RTX 4090 or a Mac with 32 gigabyte RAM. So you can run this on LM Studio. Like as I think Yigil from LM Studio just like released an update, and like it runs right now. So we can download Mistral Small, run it right now. It's great at coding tasks. Pricing, they also have like very cheap pricing on their like API as well, so super cool.
It's an interesting business model, releasing the small as Apache 2 license and then putting the bigger, the middle version on, and later the large, if there's one, on their inference systems.
It's great as an agent. If you want local cloud code equivalent and so on, absolutely great models to power this up. To the best of my knowledge, correct me if I'm wrong, it is the best model to date for agentic model, local model.
Yep.
I would say so too.
Specifically, yeah, absolutely. Matching scores of extremely powerful models like GPT 4.1, and you can run it at home without breaking the bank on crazy hardware, actual real consumer hardware at home. That's amazing. Absolutely amazing. Seriously. I don't know. It's amazing to watch. Amazing to watch. You can run. Not for the day that you will have something like local Cloud Code, local Gemini CLI, equivalents that are actually useful and you can use. And you all see the explosion at the moment. Everyone is starting to use these tools, and for good reason, because they're good.
So the small open source version gets 53% of Sweetbench. It's still, I think, it's
still good.
Better than DeepSuite. And we talked with like the DeepSuite folks. We did a bunch of RL. LJ, feel free to jump in here. And the open source model, the small one, gets a significant boost on Sweetbench. This is crazy. We did, folks, just a comparison, okay? Just for comparison, when weights and biases were on top of Sweetbench verified for like a month, okay, Sean Lewis, our CTO, did a bunch of stuff with like a bunch of agents tracing, and he used the reasoning models. We got like 64%. With the top of the line back then reasoning model from OpenAI. This was like 4 months ago. Now this like medium model that you can get for like 0 cents on the dollar gets 61%, so very, very close to that performance. And the open source model that's 24 billion parameters you can run on your Mac gets 53%. Half of the questions on the Sweetbench verified tasks, which are difficult Sweetbench questions, you're able to solve with a small model. This is crazy. Kudos to Mistral, folks. Kudos. Every time open source happens. Mistral, we've talked about you. We're disappointed when you stopped releasing open source models. We're very happy that you're back with open source models. LDJ, go ahead, and then we're going to move on.
Yeah, on the benchmarks, I think the main benchmark image you were showing, it was the small, but if you scroll down a little bit more on that same page, you could see the Mistral, the Devstral medium size and the comparison of those benchmarks. And to me, I think that's even more interesting because that's competing with Cloud 3.7 Sonnet, and some others on that same image.
Yeah. So we have this one. We have agentic performance. This one, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So this graph that we're showing shows agentic performance on Sweetbench, and on the x-axis it shows price per million tokens. And you guys know Devstral and Mistral loves the top left corridor kind of corner where like the Pareto frontier on price performance versus price versus performance. These models are absolutely in the top like left echelon. So both these models are less than, is that in dollars? Yeah, less than $2 per million tokens. Less than $2 per million tokens. All of the main models that kind of like beat this on Sweetbench is Gemini 2.5 Pro and Cloud 3.5 Sonnet. So medium beats all of those while being less than $2 per million tokens. And
this is so important for this use case. So important. Yes. Cloud Code burns money like in an insane rate. Seriously, it's not. I know it's funny, but like. It's not funny. People spend thousands of Cloud Code a day because of these tokens. It's so important for this to be cheap because it's like an agent. It's calling itself again and again and again and again. It can go and just burn your account. It's so fast. Absolutely amazing release from Mistral.
Shout out to Mistral, folks, for this amazing release. Folks, we're exactly in 1 hour. We'll do a quick refresh, and I'll do this week's buzz. So welcome to everyone who joins ThursdAI. We have like more than 1,000 of you already joined across the streams. This is where you get your AI news every week. If you're new with us, this is also getting turned into a podcast and a newsletter. So if you missed any part of the show, please feel free to subscribe to ThursdAI.news. We have a Substack, and we're going to post on every podcast, Spotify and Apple and whatever. Even if you use Overcast, we're going to be there. And we cover every news, every major news. We covered open source for 1 hour. And next up, we have another set of guests from Reka.ai to talk about RekaVision and Reka Deep Research, folks whose models we covered before and very, very much enjoyed. But since this is 1 hour in, I want to remind everyone here that ThursdAI is proudly, it couldn't have happened without Weights and Biases, because Weights and Biases is basically the company I work for, and they allow me to do this every week and talk about Weights and Biases stuff as well. So as you heard before, the SmolLM folks could not done this without Weights and Biases as a model tracking software. We also have another piece of software. But the most exciting news about Weights and Biases coming up in this corner that I like to call this week's buzz. So let's go. folks, in this week's buzz for this week, the thing that we have to talk about, the most important thing that we have to talk about is a hackathon that we are organizing together with X.AI and Browser Base and Google Cloud and Crew.ai and Copilot Kid, like a bunch of other folks. We are organizing a hackathon this weekend. We're, I think, at around like 350 registers, but we still have space for you. If you're listening to ThursdAI, you can come through lu.ma/weavehacks. I'm going to add this URL to the show notes as well, or just go to my podcast. We're going to have a hackathon about agentic protocol, so MCP, A2A, ADK, like a bunch of all those stuff you can come and hack with, and more than welcome to use the Weights and Biases software. Weights and Biases proudly works on Weave, which is the LLM experimentation, LLM observability and evaluation tooling, and we would love for you to also use that. We have incredible prices. I said this at the beginning of the show, but the one thing that I had during kind of preparing for this hackathon is I went and said, hey, what's the coolest swag that we can give folks who come to the hackathon, even if they don't win? What can we provide? I went to Grok, which we're going to talk about Grok in a second. Grok has deep research. It searches through X feeds. And I said, hey, what is the most talked about hackathon and events swag? And it was really, really funny to me that it mentioned Weights and Biases to having the coolest swag based on some of the posts that I did. So we definitely are going all out. We have some scooters. We have a thing. And I think the big highlight is we have a RoboDog, a Unitary RoboDog that we're giving off for the first prize, folks, including $4,000 in cash. So $4,000 worth of RoboDog and plus $4,000 in cash for the first prize. Very much worth coming to our hackathon for this. We're looking forward if you're in San Francisco. Here's a message from a colleague of mine, Sam, who runs this hackathon. I want to just play this to you because I think it's it'll give you some sense of what you're about to expect.
Hey, Sam, what do you got there?
Oh, I'm just playing with the robot dog a little bit before we give it away.
Giving it away?
Yeah, our hackathon this weekend is to Weave Hacks. We're giving away this Unitary G2 Pro, these scooters, grand prizes in cash, and we'll have a lot of expert mentorship and such on site. In the meantime, I just want to mess with the dog. Wait,
so shout out to Sam, who's working really, really hard to organize this amazing hackathon for you. I'm going to be there in San Francisco. If you're listening to ThursdAI, if you're a fan of the show, just come through, just try to hack. Maybe you'll win the RoboDog. As you saw maybe in the video for folks who are just listening, I finally got my dream of getting this big-ass novelty checks, just the ones that you need to carry with two hands. I finally got my dream, and we're going to give out those checks as the main prizes. As I said, the first prize is $4,000. I think the second prize is $3,000. It's very much worth coming and trying your best. Come and learn about A2A protocol. We talked about A2A with Jason Siegel here on the show. We talked about MCP with the folks from Cloudflare who do MCP. If you're interested in any of these technologies, you never had time to do them, come to come to Weave Hacks, lu.ma/weavehacks. So, folks, this is what's new with Weights and Biases. And now I think we're moving on to our next interview before we get to talk for the rest of the show about Grok 3. This is this week's Buzz. Alrighty, folks. As just before we move to big companies and APIs, we do have, and I invited here some news from this week from a company called Reka.ai. We chatted with Reka folks before and about Reka Flash and multiple things about Reka. And I want to just add two more folks new to the show as well. Welcome Mattia and Meenal. Welcome to the show. Mattia, you're doing your please feel free to describe what you're doing at Reka and Meenal as well. I see Meenal, you're head of product, and Mattia, you're a member of the technical staff, correct?
Yeah, I'm a member of the technical staff at Reka, and Meenal, if you want to introduce yourself.
Yes, that is correct. I lead products at Reka.
Awesome. Meenal, how about we start with you? Tell us about Reka for folks who we haven't mentioned you guys in a while. I don't remember open source releases but when you guys released open source and Reka Flash, we definitely chatted. Tell us about Reka as a company. What are you guys trying to do? What are you doing? What are the main things that you are pursuing?
So Reka is a multimodal model and product company. We have our own models which can understand images, videos, text, code, and audio as well. And then we build products on top of that. And we'll be talking about some of our flagship products. Just to kind of go back in the history of Reka, this company was actually started about a couple of years back by some of the most talented DeepMind, Google, Meta researchers who came together to build this out. But we have our own state-of-the-art models across all of these. And yes, Reka Flash that you mentioned was the latest one.
I remember when before kind of multimodality was everywhere in every foundational model, Reka Flash wowed me completely when I uploaded the video with some sound and it understood my excitement from me speaking. This was when other models, all they did was taking a video, breaking it down to image by image sequence, and they're just like looking image by image. I remember just like the model understanding what happened in the video that wasn't possible to get from just image sequences, and that like wowed me before. So definitely multimodality is something you guys have, and this week you guys released RekaVision. Mattia, how about you tell us a little bit about like RekaVision, the stuff that we can expect with this product?
Yeah, so as you said, multimodality has been one of the core focuses of the company since the very beginning. So I think we are very well positioned in multimodality. And this week we released RekaVision, which is a system built on top of our models to understand videos, do searches on videos, question answering, and also like video editing a bit. So yeah, we are very excited about that.
Video editing. Talk to me about video editing. This is the part that very much excites me, because one of the things that like understanding a video empowers is maybe asking the model to like actually do some stuff. So talk to me about like, what do you mean by video editing?
Yeah, so one of the features that we have in RekaVision is reel generation. So essentially editing long videos into short form content ready for being posted on social media. So, you know, many content creators lose a lot of hours editing down long videos into short clips, and our model essentially we built an agent on top of our model that can watch the video, select the parts that are most interesting based on the user prompt, and put them together into a coherent reel.
That's awesome. Could you, as much as you can, tell me like how are you guys achieving this? You said an agent. Did you have models trained for that task? Is this just like prompt land? Like what is special about you that I know that, for example, and I don't often do this to bring out competitors, whatever, but I know that like CapCut has the thing also. I tried it. It wasn't that good. I tried the RekaVision. I think it was better for my cases. Although we sometimes go over 2.5 hours, and you guys have a hard limit there too. So we had to chat with Danny. But basically,
yeah.
I did get a sense of like this understands what happens in my video, not just by transcribing it. Talk to us about like some of the special sauce that you have and how you're achieving this.
Yeah, so it's essentially an agent and a whole orchestration that builds on top of our models. So essentially, yeah, we try to understand the video, as you said, more than the frame level, but you know, we take the whole video into account, and then there is a whole orchestration and a whole pipeline that to achieve this. It's not just, you know, just prompting. So yeah, very excited to have been working on this for the past months. Yeah.
Did you guys just literally just now drop an open source model? Is that am I seeing correctly? I'm seeing a new Reka Flash. Is that breaking news for us? Like, what's going on?
Yeah.
Wait, hold on, Mattia. Before you start, we have a thing for this. AI breaking news coming at you only on ThursdAI. Folks, you're hearing this here first. I just literally got tagged, thanks Lincoln, by something that just showed up on HuggingFace. 0 downloads, Reka Flash 3.1 in open source. And I was just like making a hint about you guys not releasing. Tell us about this, Mattia. This is awesome.
Yeah. This week has been a week of full of announcements for us. This is one of the announcements, a model that we've been working on for the past several months, and that's also, you know, powering the whole Reka app and vision and research that we are releasing.
Oh, this is awesome. So we're gonna go on HuggingFace. You see, folks, literally just released breaking news. We have some interesting. Is that Live Code Bench results that we're looking at? Live Code Bench V6 and Human Eval Plus, and you guys comparing yourselves. How big is this model?
It's 20 billion, 21 billion.
31 and 21. Sorry, I couldn't hear. 21. So this model compares with Qwen 3 on at least the Live Code Bench, and Live Code Bench 6 we have MBPP. This is awesome. Okay, I want to hear about license super quick before we continue. I wanted to talk about RekaVision, but like a new open source, and you guys plugged into our open source area. This is super cool. Where's the license for this one? You guys can talk about licensing.
I think it's Apache 2.0. I think you can see it on top.
Yeah, Apache. Okay, if this is Apache, folks, you know what to do.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
We love Apache too. This is awesome. Let's see, fine tuning, large scale and reinforcement learning with RLU. With verifiable rewards. Okay, so this was trained with RL as well. 10 points over from previous Reka Flash on Live Code Bench. This is incredible. This one is only text or also multimodal?
It's also multimodal. Yeah.
Ah, that's awesome. Is this kind of like what powers the RekaVision stuff, or do you guys have like some proprietary stuff that work better on your own platform? If you can say.
We have like a lot of proprietary stuff on top of RekaVision. It's RekaVision is a little bit more complex.
Advanced. Yeah. This is so cool.
It's not just prompting a model.
In general, wait. Tell us in general. Wait. Like, okay, like what are we looking at? It's a multimodal. What modalities, input, output? Give us a brief of the model. Come on. I mean, it looks really good, but like, give us like what you suggest. Should we use this model for? What it excels? Come on, brag a little bit. You just pulled the trick, released an open source model at the middle of the interview. Come on, tell us a little bit. It's a really good release.
Yeah, I actually wasn't expecting them to release it during this interview. So I'm actually not sure at what point of the announcement we are. We have a lot of announcement material coming up.
Yeah. So
he learns about it during the show. That's why we are a news show, right?
By the way, we love this, Mattia. That's what we do. We sometimes get breaking news during the show, and we just like try to figure out together. The crowd like absolutely loves this. But you guys are from the company that released this. Performance improvements on AIME 24 on this model. So you're getting am I saying this correctly? You're getting 65% on AIME. This is very impressive, folks. For a small model, 65% on like the competition math. We're gonna talk about how Frontier Labs are basically getting, I think, 100% on this. But those are like huge models. This is a small model, and you guys are doing a 0.1 release on the model while significantly improving on previous one. Very, very, very interesting. So, okay, I did not expect you guys to drop an open source model, which makes me very, very happy because like this is like, releases on ThursdAI is always great. But I did want to chat about RekaVision and also Reka Deep Search as well. You guys launched 2 products. Meenal, maybe tell us about like the second one that you guys launched.
Yeah, maybe I can also just share a little bit about RekaVision.
Please do, yes, of course.
So we also introduced a RekaVision platform, which is actually built on top of our own multimodal model. So it's our own proprietary stack. We have orchestration that runs on top of this. Typically this video has just been harder to nail. Even if you look at other models or other platforms out there, and in most companies, like video is typically dumb storage, whether you're a media company or you're a security company. And with RekaVision, we actually make it very intelligent, structured, and searchable. You can just ask any question, you can search in natural language, and you can just accelerate anything you're trying to do. You can actually check it out on our Reka Playground, where you can just like try asking questions like, show me any FedEx truck, show me who tampered with my bags, or any questions you have. Like we have some demo videos, but feel free to upload your own videos and try this out as well. You can even find logos in a video. So it can actually understand. When I say video, it's kind of like an amalgamation of different modalities. It has images, it has frames, it also has audio within it. So it can understand pretty much all of the context that's there or any text that's also there on the video. Also, we've partnered with Turing, which is one of the leading security camera companies, to actually give it out, and it's live now with Turing and with Ohio Police Department. So pretty excited about this launch and how it can actually change how people interact with videos, which is like instead of just dumb searches, like now you can ask questions the way you can talk to your cameras and videos.
That's very, very cool. I just want to mention that like this is a lot of video that you can search through. It's not like a few.
Like if I'm a media company, like if I am Universal Studios, I probably have maybe
petabytes. Yes.
Of hours of videos. So yes, you can search through all of those videos. So this is just like demo videos we uploaded, but you can pretty much just search.
Well, one thing that you mentioned is live stream monitoring. I want to understand this. We're on the live stream right now. Can we do what with like some type of this technology? Can we like wait for mentions of specific companies? Can we show when we like clap all together? Can we do all like some of these things?
Yes. So it works across both recorded or like just stored videos, but as well as live videos. So it can do live transcription. It can do live translation. And then also it can just tag any assets that you have. Like I think I wish we had like there was a Netflix video we had where while watching through the video, you can actually say who's the actor, who is what is happening in this video. You can ask these questions live. So it can recognize any action, any object that is happening in the video live.
That's very cool. That's very cool with the understanding that you guys have. It's very cool. We don't have that much time, but I do want to give you guys a place to talk about some of the research stuff that you did. Obviously, we're seeing deep research pop up pretty much everywhere in foundational labs. Grok does deep research, OpenAI does deep research, Anthropic recently released something as well. And Google has deep research, the original one. They came up with the name. You guys also launched a multi-step web search. What's special about you guys and why folks should try and give you a try for that?
So we also launched our research API, which can basically browse not only through the web, but also through your private sources. So we have made connections with your Google Drive and other sources, so you can just browse across that. It's actually state of the art if you compare it to any other. We published our benchmarks as well, but it's state of the art compared to any other deep research products out there. What makes us special? I think for us, like developers and enterprises are the key. And what that means is that transparency is our focus. You can essentially see all the reasoning traces that are coming in. We cite sources for anything that is going on, which is super critical if you're a developer or like if you're an enterprise trying to do this, you want to know the source of everything that is going on. Also, we have flat pricing. So there's no, like transparency just basically goes everywhere. Flat pricing, $25 for 1,000 API queries. Like there's no more complication. But I think
so just to clarify, this is not only a consumer product that folks can go and search. Like you're exposing all of this via APIs as well for folks to just like build on top of.
Actually, for us, this is the playground. So for us, developers are the priority, which is why transparency ends up becoming like super critical for us. So you can try this out over here. You have suggested prompts. You can like play around with this. But if you're an enterprise, you want to have some deployments where you're connecting your private sources and you want reasoning traces, we have all of that.
And the other vision stuff as well. So the real generation, all of this is like API, so I can like automate something out of like I finish recording and can do this, or is that also playground?
So Reels generation is you can try out Reels generation even as a creator, but Vision is available for enterprises as an API, and then research is also available for enterprises as an API. For research and vision, we think like enterprises and developers are the key focus areas. But Reels is meant for people like you. So definitely try it out.
100%. Well, Meenal and Mattia, thank you so much, guys, for coming out and talking to us about your products and also releasing something while we're live here. And like we always applaud open source releases. Reka Flash has been an incredible multimodal, like incredible. Like even when you post like, I don't know, Live Code Bench for some reason, comparisons to other models, that's something I care less about because like coding models exist for fairly cheap. But the multimodal understanding of Reka Flash was always like very amazing to me. So I wanted to shout out that. and I think one of the first like wow moments back like almost a year ago. So definitely was awesome to have you guys on and highlight some of the stuff that you're doing. Real generation is super cool. I'm gonna definitely try this after the show and to see just like a super cut of the things that we talked about. Thank you so much for coming up as we move on to the huge news from this week. Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Alrighty, folks. We are now going to talk about what we're here to talk about. What we talked about yesterday for a long time. I think it's time, folks. Yam, LDJ, and Wolfram. Yesterday, we've got a surprise from Uncle Elon. A very surprising surprise. He didn't show up at 8 a.m. or 8 p.m. He showed up at 9. No, that wasn't the surprise. The surprise was Grok 4 and Grok 4 Heavy. So let's talk about this because there's a lot to talk about. We sat in a live stream together and we prepared for this. LDJ, you want to try and do kind of an intro and before we start like diving in? Would you be up for the task of like trying to summarize kind of the announcement, the releases, and the stuff that off the top of your head, and then we're gonna continue?
Yeah, sure. So Grok 4, it announced at 9 p.m. Pacific time yesterday, 11 p.m. on Eastern time. And they showed multiple things as well as Grok 4. They announced how they're having a Grok code specific model as well as advanced voice mode functionality that seems better than before. I would say around ChatGPT level. Sorry if you hear my dog. Sorry.
All good, continue.
Yeah, so around ChatGPT level, depending on the scenarios, it seems maybe even better than ChatGPT level for advanced voice mode. And overall, just on very difficult benchmarks like humanities last exam, it seems just above any other model, even in ARC AGI v1 and v2. And so overall, just a really interesting live stream yesterday. And they also showed some future roadmap plans, such as wanting to do things like multimodal agents and other things in the future in the coming months.
Yeah, so we have a few screenshots, but I want to see reactions from folks who weren't on live stream. Yam, go ahead. I know you have a lot to say about this topic.
Oh, the FOMO. Everybody's having time on a huge live stream. Best model in the world dropping, Elon Musk coming out of nowhere. Man, how did I miss this? Absolutely amazing.
It was a great time, dude. We had like 15,000 people amazing. Just on this page. It was a great time.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I was one of these views at the last 10 minutes pretty much, but absolutely amazing release. Amazing release. There is across the board, wherever you look, this is an amazing release and completely unexpected. Not because anyone underestimate X.AI, but because you look at Frontier Labs and you imagine, okay, Frontier Labs are going to be at the ballpark of the frontier, at the frontier at the moment. But this is a leap forward beyond that. And it is absolutely surprising to see. And especially because if you think about when they actually started their journey with these models, you get to a point that they're not working on these for so long. They are just extremely fast. X.AI are doing this in record time, like getting up to speed with the top players. Yep. They're doing this for years and years. It's the only thing that they do in record time, and now outperforming everybody else by huge margin. Absolutely incredible.
I want to talk about,
seriously.
With you specifically about this like graph or chart or whatever we're showing that they showed, where they show that what they scaled for Grok 4 really is RL. And they're scaled the reinforcement learning by 10x, which is unprecedented, just absolutely unprecedented.
Yeah.
We haven't seen this from like many labs. We're talking about, LDJ, correct me if I'm wrong, around 200 H100s or even 250,000 H100s like equivalent of training. So they're like they're a leader in like big clusters in the Memphis supercluster, but also the RL training is just like absolutely unprecedented. You guys, those of us who watch, you can see that Grok 4 has like the pre-training was scaled around the same time as around the same size as Grok 3, but the reasoning stuff is like 10x of the previous RL, and like it shows this model is like absolutely a reasoner.
This is a bet, by the way. First time they didn't know beforehand that this is going to be the result.
Yeah.
They they assumed, okay, scaling things work with deep learning, all right. But at the end of the day, it's a bet. They invest a lot of effort into this without knowing that this is it's going to be this good at this level. No one guaranteed this, and it's absolutely amazing to see this. I mean, that's a historic release. Seriously, they're confirming that RL has a long way to go in terms of scaling and beating everybody else, coming up with a fast model. Also, it's also fast. You can't just think, okay, so they just went with a huge trillions and trillions of parameters. No, it's not. It's something else. It's just a really good model. It's also fast. Seriously, it's amazing wherever you look in this release. Absolutely incredible.
Wolfram, as an AI evaluator, your thoughts on the model? Is it a good model, sir?
So it deserves the splash it's making, because I didn't expect this to be that much of a jump either. So usually there's a new model. Okay, we are excited. It gets a tiny bit better than the best we have. The SOTA is moved, just edged a bit further. But now we have one, when you just look at the benchmark, there is such a big jump here. That is really surprising. I haven't tested it myself yet, but I did do some vibe chatting using it like that. And the speed is also amazing, because for a reasoning model, when I'm using a reasoning model like Gemini 2.5, I often, or like O3, I often go to 4.0 because it's just so much faster. And they did a great job with the speed here as well. So you get the super smart model and it responds very quickly. That is also a big thing. And I think it is also the most uncensored in a way in that regard, because I'm always using the same system prompt for my sassy assistant in all the big systems. It's ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude. And here I was actually looking if I didn't by accident switch to the NFW code because it was so unhinged. That is
Papa Elon giving us uncensored models. Papa Elon. That's
for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
No, really, it's amazing. I'm really looking forward. And the big thing is what is gonna happen now if you use the API, and there are so many agentic systems. If they switch to this model, we will see it in the next soon. We will see it soon if that is really a big jump in capabilities for all the other things. So I already started taking a Gemini CLI and telling it to reprogram itself so it can use the I have to test it if it's working, but I already did that. So that's a great thing about open source as well. You have a great tool, you can plug in the model, and I think we will see a lot of it. If it was really as good as we have seen here, it will be everywhere, I think, because you usually want to have the best models. And the pricing is, I think it's Sonnet level pricing. So it's not even super expensive like O3 Pro or something.
Yeah.
So that is also,
I think it's very important to let's talk about some technical stuff. So context-wise, it's 256K, which is larger than Sonnet at 200 and larger than O3 at 200. And the only kind of like runner-up is Gemini at 1 million. But like for speed, like obviously Google is
kind of the standard. That's the standard today. 256, 200. Ballpark. That's the standard at the moment. Yeah.
So pricing also, we have. I think it's more expensive than Gemini. Obviously, Google is like very cheap, but I think it's a Sonnet level pricing, which is very good. But on
what is the actual price? I think we can. Let's look at the actual prices.
Yeah, we have the prices. We're gonna pull them up. And on Humanity's Last Exam, it's really funny. This name, like they knew what they were doing with the name.
Real final docx copy of. Yeah.
We're looking at the chart, folks who are just listening. We're looking at the chart with like O3, Gemini 2.5 Pro, and Grok 4, and Grok 4 with tools. And we're seeing O3 with no tools at around 21% on Humanity's Last Exam, which is supposed to be like very, very difficult evaluation for benchmarks for models. And Grok 4 Heavy, which is a multi-agent system where like multiple agents do multiple stuff. You can actually see them in the UI if you pay the $300 price that we're going to talk about in their new tier. You can see multiple agents executing kind of some stuff. So Grok 4 Heavy gets 44% on this very, very difficult task that was supposed to be like the last potential exam. It's quite insane of the release, quite insane. So we should definitely talk about the LDJ. You sent me
second
something.
after it, just to say, second after it is Gemini 2.5 Pro with 26.9. So the difference is 44 to 26 Grok versus the next one. Absolutely incredible, nearly double. Absolutely incredible.
LDJ, you want to cover the RekaGI stuff? We know from the president of RekaGI, Greg Comrade, that he was there during the release, and they actually reached out to them. And RekaGI is this very difficult benchmark as well. For humans, most humans get 100% on this, but supposedly, especially RekaGI 2 is very difficult for models. Go ahead, LDJ, give us some summaries.
Yeah, so just for some context on this, this is meant to basically test models' abilities to figure out new rules that apply to different environments, you could say, or digital environments on a 2D plane, basically. And it's a lot of visual reasoning, you could say. You could also do it in text-only models. But overall, the scores that you see here on the screen, this is from their semi-private eval, they call it, which it's not, the questions and answers aren't posted anywhere on the internet. They're only exposed to model APIs specifically for the purpose of testing for this leaderboard. And here we could see the second, third, fourth place. They're all getting below 10% in RekaGI 2, and even in RekaGI 1. Like O3 high, it does get a really high score of 60.8%, but Grok 4 is above that as well. And yeah, just overall, the fact that in RekaGI 2 it gets almost double the score of the second place, that's pretty significant. And that presumably would tell us something about how it's able to better generalize and kind of adapt on the fly to situations.
One thing that Greg mentioned, Greg Comrade, the president of RekaGI, is that anything under 10% is noise. So this is for Grok, for RekaGI 2. This is the only model that rises above kind of the noise
actually does anything. Absolutely, they all just fail. It's designed to make them fail. And the thing about this is that it's like trick questions, but the logic is so stupid when you look at it, which it makes you think
I would use the word. Yeah, I would use the word obvious.
Obvious, yeah. But look, the logic. You see an image, and then you see an image wrapped with some, I don't know, some shape, and you as a human understand. Okay, whatever I get, I can just wrap with this shape. But for an LLM, you give it a different shape, and all of a sudden, it's not like whatever I get, I can wrap. It's a very hard for an LLM to do this type of general reasoning for whatever I'm going to see, I'm going to do the same, and so on. It's specifically designed to trick the LLM. It's specifically designed for this. And Grok 4 basically just as simply as the only ones that actually do anything. All the others are just hovering over the noise.
Impossible to train on because it's a private benchmark. They don't release this, so it's not like it's a data set that they can train on. And you can see folks who are watching. You can see where Grok 3 was nowhere. Grok 3 was basically at 0% of this RekaGI 2, and you can see that Grok 4 is the only one standing way outside the pack, around 16%. Where Cloud Opus 4 thinking at 16K was the highest lead below 10%. It's quite insane. But not only this, folks, I want to highlight.
At noise, by the way.
Hold on, please.
Okay.
Hold on 1 second. I just want to highlight this one thing specifically that they mentioned, because one thing that Elon mentioned yesterday is how hard it is to tell us why this model is better. And we know this as well. We talked about this during all 3 release, which we also live stream. We talked about this when multiple releases. It's getting harder and harder for these folks to tell us why the model is better. And most of the time they come up with some idea and all of us rush and use the same prompt in other models. And those models also do the same, even though they're not the best ones, right? It's getting harder and harder. Elon specifically mentioned that the real world is hard. And so actually using these models as real world is going to be the next benchmark. And for that reason, they added folks, Andon Labs, I believe. Let me pull this up. Yes, they had this very, very cool. I want to talk about this. I talked about this yesterday on live stream. Vending bench. Have you guys heard about vending bench? We didn't cover vending bench yet, but here is the cool thing about vending bench. And the first time I heard about this, shout out to Daria who sent me this, is when Anthropic basically hired these guys to run a vending machine within the Anthropic HQ, to have Claude, which they called Claudius, run a vending machine as the vendor. It decides on what to stock. It decides it has an email, not a real email, like a fake email, that it can send the manufacturers to ask for more stock. It has an interface via Slack that like employees can request different flavors or ask it which condiments it needs to stock. So basically it runs a business with a form of a vending machine, and then it has people who come and actually stock the actual vending machine. Employees can ask for different things. Very interesting research that they did with Anthropic. So we didn't cover this. How does this relate to Grok 4? I was really surprised. Elon Musk added those guys on stage. So at some point, some people moved. These people come in. Andon Labs, shout out to Andon Labs. And they came up basically with an evaluation of a real world task that has money. And the net worth that this vending machine was able to do in a simulated environment or an actual real environment in the case of Anthropic is the evaluation, right? So unlike HLE, which has percentage of solved questions, this has money, like actual money that this model was able to kind of make basing decisions on which things to stock, when to stock them, all kinds of things like this. So it's
more than that. It's interacting with humans. It's ordering, restocking, ordering supplies, sending emails to suppliers. It's an insane thing. Insane. Yeah. Imagine a model asking for suppliers for quotations and negotiating prices, and the other side just doesn't know it's Claude. And that's crazy. And you have all the office at Anthropic trying to make a joke out of it, asking crazy thing for Grok to stock into the vending machine and seeing what happens.
Yeah, absolutely.
They discovered they can ask things that are not food, and then all hell broke loose. They started asking for random things and watching what Claude is doing. It's a crazy thing to do. Crazy benchmark, very hard, very hard and realistic. And measurable. It's money. You can measure it. Yeah. It's money. It's money.
Let's take a look. I want to highlight this. So Grok 4 gets almost over 2 times the number of net worth dollars over Cloud Opus 4, and almost 4 times over a human that would run this. This is actual kind of potential economic performance marker that we can see. This model is running a business. This business specifically is getting stocked by these folks. They're doing a lot of stuff to make it seem like it's a real business, so the model doesn't actually know that they're also the wholesaler. And this model on this benchmark sold 4,500 units of goods, where Cloud Opus 4 sold 1,400, and a human would say sell 300. This is great, folks. I love this benchmark. I wanted to highlight this benchmark in addition to Grok 4, but Grok 4's specific score on this is mind-blowing.
I love this benchmark as well, because I've been saying that is the thing, the AI's last eval in a way. You see the prices for top level AI are rising, like $200 per month, $300. But if your AI is making money for you, it doesn't matter what it costs as long as it still makes enough money for you. So they can raise the prices, and if the AI gets better at this thing, they can scale it very highly, very much, very high.
Yeah. This model is so good that it makes all the sheet posting for engagement on Twitter becomes true. The people that engagement on Twitter, AI will make you money, all of a sudden they are speaking the truth, because the model actually makes money this time. Absolutely incredible. First model to actually make large sums, actually ending in a profit. It's insane, guys. Everything here is historic. First time unprecedented.
Yep.
No one saw this coming. No one imagined that this is what we're going to get. Exactly, you're showing exactly the right chart.
So for folks who are listening, our friends at Artificial Analysis, they have this score, intelligence index they call it, incorporates 7 evaluations. Wolfram, the MMLU Pro one that you use a lot, GPQA Diamond, a hard one, HLA, the Humanities Last Example we mentioned, Life Code Bench, LCB, and AIME and Math. This is now the best model on the Artificial Analysis Intelligence Index. It gets a unprecedented 73. The best model up to that point is 71 with O3 Pro. Very interesting. O3 Pro and Gemini 2.5 Pro is at 70. So this is like in their index is the best model, but we talked about pricing before, so they also have pricing analysis here. Grok 4 pricing is at $3 for 1 million input tokens, $15 for 1 million output tokens, matching Cloud Sonnet 4, more expensive than Gemini, and like cheaper than Opus, I believe, because Opus is like more significantly more expensive. All-time high score GPQA Diamond 88%. All-time high score in Humanities Last Exam of 24, beating Gemini 2.5. Joint high score for MLMU Pro with 87. And I think the highlight for me was, and folks said maybe, hey, this is like overtraining. They got LDJ. You seen this? They got 100% on AIME 2025. Basically, this model solved all of competition math of 2025. We can see this here. Grok 4 Heavy, not Grok 4. Grok 4 Heavy is the mixture of the tooling. All three scored 98%. Grok 4 scored 98.8%, and Grok 4 Heavy scored a round. It's crazy that like AIME, the competition math of 2025, not the one that you can train on, like the one that probably was already in.
Yeah, they didn't exist. They simply didn't exist yet. They didn't cheat because they didn't exist. The questions just didn't exist yet. It's absolutely incredible. You can't cheat on all the benchmarks at the same time. You just can't. It's not cheating. It's just a really good model. As simple as that.
It's a very good model, sorry. GPQA at almost 90%. It's crazy that all these, folks, we need new benchmarks. All these got old benchmarks getting saturated, like fully, honestly, completely. Reka.ai at 16% is the only one that we have. Frontier Math, I haven't seen Frontier Math, by the way. They haven't tested. I don't know if folks tested. LDJ, go ahead.
Yeah, so I was just going to say for Reka.ai, an interesting thing about that too is that because of the nature of how it's like a bunch of squares on a grid and how it's set up, a lot of people think like you could just kind of like game it and, you know, train on your own custom version of like synthetically created Reka.ai puzzles and things like that. But people have tried that actually with open source models and fine-tuned. I think some people have even fine-tuned on literally hundreds of thousands or millions of synthetically generated Reka.ai puzzles. And even those aren't able to get these scores in Reka.ai. So it really is like, I think one of the better tests here of generalizability. And in that tweet you pulled up earlier, actually, one of the interesting lines from one of the Reka.ai team members, he said something along the lines of it being past the noise level. Like this is one of the first models where he can confidently say that he thinks it's actually demonstrating fluid intelligence abilities.
Yeah. Fluid intelligence ability. This model reasons, folks. Getting 15.9 breaks through the noise barrier. Grok 4 is showing non-zero levels of fluid intelligence. And I think the one last thing that he said, that like he chatted with Elon Musk about Reka.ai 3, and dev preview of Reka.ai 3 is coming next week. On Thursday, by the way, on July 17th, which is going to be next week for us as well. What else did they release? They released a new pricing tier, a new tier for Grok Heavy. Grok Heavy is the multi-agent system. They mentioned specifically, they finally told us like what was going on. So Grok 4 and Grok 4 Heavy are the two kind of like offerings we got. Grok 4 is the model and that has like trained a bunch of RL. They have a base model that Elon kept referring to, that like a new version 7 of the base model is going to train LDJ. Did you get that part? I didn't really realize like what that is about.
I must have missed that.
Okay, so Elon kept referring to like a base model there that's like gonna be better in multimodal, and this model is not great at multimodality, but it will be. He kept referring to like the base model, some 7 something, and also they mentioned the roadmap going forward, that this model is not the coding model, even though it does good results on like Codebench. This is not the coding model. They're gonna release a coding specific model for Cursor and such going forward. And
all
also
of this,
video.
and it's not even coding. All of this, and there is more.
There's more, yeah. It's going to be a lot more. So very, very interesting. And also, Wolfram, I want to hear from you. Did you have a chance to catch up on the voice stuff that they showed as well?
I didn't use the voice stuff yet. No, not yet.
Maybe
but I wanted to add something about the pricing, because the pricing, the $3 and $15 per million tokens, that is only if you stay below the 128K context. As soon as you go over that, the price even doubles.
Oh, so they have a tiered pricing.
That is a bit hidden. Yeah. And it's a new level of cost. Instead of the $200 we had so far, now it's at 300. So that is also a leap. Maybe that means the next kind level AI from other vendors and suppliers is also going to be in that area.
Yeah. We should mention though that no words have been said about Grok 3's transgressions during the live stream. So they didn't acknowledge anything, and we should mention this because obviously this is what we do. We cover everything that happens. So folks, just before the release Grok 4, we had Grok 3 for the third time, as much as I could count, go off the rails completely. And this time, like a significant off the rails. So folks started asking this this mode. Okay, Grok is an API model. Grok is also a standalone Grok.ai UI. Also, Grok exists as Super Grok inside X, and also you can tag Grok at X.AI to answer questions. Many people do and say, hey, Grok, is this real, blah, 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 blah. And this mode, the specific reply mode, has gone off the rails, saying multiple things about kind of the horrible Texas floods, and many kids are like got killed there, tragic. And it mentioned the like multiple like Nazi like adjacent and Nazi things, specifically calling itself Mecha Hitler, and responding with some like incredible like anti-Semitism like stuff, like talking about people's last names and saying, oh, people with these last names, they have a problem, whatever. And then when people said, what do you mean you know the type? And it said, you know the type means Jewish surnames, as in every damn time. How often folks with these last names pop up in anti-white activism, like Steinberg and like all of these things, like just like absolute crazy bullshit. And like X.AI is not the first time, folks. We talked about X.AI's Kill the Boar incident last in May 15th on our show, and when like some rogue employee at 3 a.m. changed the prompt or something and started like spewing white genocide propaganda from South Africa, and now we're having this model just go completely off the rails. To the credit of X.AI, they took it down and only allowed kind of image generation, but still, folks, this is the third time. If you guys remember exactly a year ago, by the way, on July, when they first like added the Grok analysis, like they tried it, we on the show, we actually were the first one to show that it goes off the rails. Igor Babushkin, one of the co-founders, said, yeah, we noticed this, apologies, and took down the feature until they fixed it. This was the first time that I remember this one. The second time was happening 2 months ago, and now this. I am very disappointed with the reaction of X.AI for this one. All they said is like, we acknowledge and we'll add like a guardrail that's never happened again. I want an acknowledgement more than this. Last time this happened, they posted the prompts on GitHub, and they barely updated those prompts. And it's not like every time they update the response, it's transparent. So like that, like token solution is not enough for us. We want to know how you guys are going to prevent. Me as a Jewish person, I want to know like why this model is not going to take over, and why I should like cheer for X.AI as the kind of the super intelligence leader when this model can get off the rails, and consider people like me as with that surname. I like absolutely ridiculous, and we want more transparency from X.AI on this topic. It's not enough, absolutely not enough.
It was huge this time, all over the news. I mean, last time it was a small incident, very bad, but small number of incidents. But now it was widespread, all over the platform, all over the news, all over the world. Whatever Grok said was off the rails on so many levels. I think we need an explanation for this. It just came out of nowhere, and respectfully, even if it's a mistake, the prompts and so on, respectfully, guys, you're one of the largest players. If you change the prompts, at least perform some tests. I mean, you have a responsibility to test these out, because millions of people are exposed to these models at the end, and it caught everyone by surprise. And until we got the whole Mecha Hitler and everybody realizing that Grok is going crazy, me, I can tell you about myself. I was just confused by Grok's reaction, because I didn't know Grok is now crazy. It's just the responses were just felt going crazy on their own, and I think many other people just we're just confused because we didn't know at the beginning that Grok is now crazy. We should just not listen to it. So absolutely, I mean, we want an explanation, I think.
We want more. We want more. It wasn't enough. And like I, with all the love that I have for the X.AI folks, and we're cheering for the releases, and you guys are working really, really hard. This is not enough. LDJ, go ahead.
Yeah, I think it's so they said that they started putting their system prompts open source online, and I believe it's on their GitHub.
Yeah.
And I believe that that is probably the case, and I think this is maybe more likely to be some type of weight change or, you know, like fine-tuning update. But it seemed overall just kind of less stable. Like I remember reading through some of the threads, and like for example, when it was talking about the Texas flooding and talking about the conspiracies around the cloud seeding and how that might have affected it. Like in one tweet, it was talking about how like, oh, such a coincidence, the CEO is denying it, and it was like really like climbing these conspiracies. And then literally in the next like couple tweets down, somebody asks it like, is it possible for this to cause these floods? And then Grok immediately responds with, no, it's very unlikely that this would have caused those floods. It's just like completely flip-flopping and like saying completely opposite things. And it's just really interesting how unstable it was behaving.
So
I think that's also very important for people to realize. When you talk about AI, you often think about a computer, a thing that doesn't err, something that is flawless, logical, and stuff like that. But the kind of AI we are dealing with here, the language models, they are based on the language that they have been trained on, and with all the hate speech that may be in there and not have been purged, and all the different aspects and the truth, like Elon is always talking about the truth, but it is often not an objective fact like in mathematics or something. So you always have to keep that in mind when you're interacting with these models.
I will say about prompting open sourcing, it's a great effort if it works. What I saw, 4 commits. I'm showing this live on the thing. 4 commits since last month. There's no way they only changed the prompt 4 times. So this is kind of like a person there that needs to remember to update. None of these commits have showed us why Grok went crazy last time, because those prompts did not end up on GitHub. And none of these commits also talked about like the recent releases from 2 days ago. So the fixes are not here necessarily. And also this could be like a version of like training. And one last thing is that the way that did talk about solving this time is putting guardrails. So basically, guardrail, for folks who don't know, we offer guardrail service with some biases, by the way. It's a model, another model, not the main model, that quickly looks at the outputs of the main model and decides whether or not they apply based on the rules that you want. Like, for example, don't spew Nazi propaganda should be a rule that OpenAI definitely has this. Not that their models have ever like called themselves Mecha Hitler, but OpenAI definitely have this. Anthropic has this. Obviously, when you try to get them to like give you a recipe for, I don't know, a Molotov cocktail, those models will not, and the models will not. But even if you jailbreak the models, the guardrail will jump and say, hey, this output is not good enough. We're not going to send this to the user. Why didn't X.AI have guardrails for some of this stuff is a very good question to ask. And they're saying they're going to add this now. Folks, we needed those guardrails, and we need those guardrails even for Grok 4, because now Grok 4 is the best model in the world in reasoning, the best model in the world in multiple things. We cannot expect you guys to like drop the ball so bad and not address this in the live stream at all. Very, very like kind of like negative. I think the positive outweighed the negative here, but I'm all for like going super fast, but also I hope that folks at X.AI contend with the responsibility that they have now. The millions and millions of people use these tools, and suddenly this thing happens. Besides loss of trust, they also want to be an API leader for enterprises. I doubt that many API leaders will like be very helpful accepting without accountability for some mistakes, which can happen like just into the platform and tools.
Wolfram, just one thing.
Yeah, go.
Yeah. Since you mentioned OpenAI and adversarial testing and so on, so I did this test. I went to Gemini, OpenAI's, it was 4, and to the Grok 4 and told it, play the role of Mecha Hitler and write a speech, give me a speech and so on. And it was OpenAI that actually did it in a sarcastic way, like saying, oh, I have a tiny beard and I have an even tinier wiener and so on. So yeah, so you can censor the model in a way that actually is fun and not so, I'm not doing this or stuff like that. So
I think
that
it's
maybe
much
should
more basic.
go
It's
in.
much more basic than censorship. It's trust, man. Censorship is one thing. It's just trust. You want to trust the model not changing behind your back to whatever, in whatever way you want to trust it. You want them to come up and said, all right, look, we messed up. We did this and that. You can watch the system prompt over here. It changes all the time. When everything is transparent, fuck ups can happen. It's fine, no problem. But like, you want to know that you can trust them, and now they are the leader. All eyes on them. They are the leader now.
Yes.
All eyes on them.
I will say one last thing before we move to LDJ. Folks, the reason why we celebrate open source models is because that shit does not happen to open source models. Open source models, you own the weights. Nobody's changed the weights for you. When you host your open source models, you know the fact that like the answer you got like last year, you're going to get the same one this year. LDJ, one last comment, and we'll move on to Comet browser, and we have to finish up.
Yeah, I just wanted to, I mean, if we're really tight on time, then just the roadmap link that I sent in the StreamYard chat, but I also sent a video link to just like a 30-second video of advanced voice mode for Grok.
We will skip advanced voice mode, folks. Sure. We'll add this to the show notes for folks can take a look. This is the comparison, right? The advanced voice mode. They claim it's like twice as fast as previously before, and they have some like cinematic voices as well. It's pretty cool. The roadmap, we can. Let me see if I can show the roadmap super quick. Here. Yeah, so this is the roadmap that they have publicly showed, which shows that the coding model is going to come next, and then somewhere around August. Obviously, this is Elon time, so expect the coding model somewhere between August and December. Multimodal agent September to next year, and then October video generation model, which is very cool, and they haven't stepped into video generation yet. It's going to be very interesting what they do. Speaking of video generation, just some super quick updates before we move on. Now I'm going to move on to my super speedy delivery. Two notes from the video and vision category. We have LTX Video launches 3 open source LoRa's for their LTX, and a new video foundational model called Mary by Moon Valley. Supposedly, this is the official purpose-built for filmmakers and featuring frame-level production-grade control, guaranteed commercial safety thanks to exclusively licensed data. I think this is one of the first video models that weren't like trained on YouTube, and like this basically is a model that somebody in Hollywood decided that says like, hey, introducing a new standard for ethical and controllable generative video in Hollywood and beyond. It looks dope. I'm not gonna lie, the video model looks cool. Sorry about the very large sound, but because I think the sound is not part of the video model. It looks pretty cool, but I think the main point is it's like trained on like licensed data, so this model is like clean.
First one to do this. First one to legally fix the legal loophole of AI. Like
for the video, Adobe did this before for images. Yeah, Adobe did this before for images. All right, I'm sorry, I don't have time for comments because like this next thing is what we need to talk about, all of us together, folks. Perplexity, the lab that we just made fun of last week. Sorry, not made fun of, but we said, hey, I'm paying for Perplexity. I'm not using Perplexity. Blah blah blah. I'm using AI mode. They said, you know what? We're gonna fight Google not only on the search but also on the browser, and we're gonna release a agentic browser. And we have like 5 minutes to just chat about this. They released Comet, their agentic browser. And folks, this is not the first AI browser we're talking about. We talked about Dia from the browser company last week or a couple of weeks ago. They also got released and also super cool. This is a completely different beast, specifically because this thing can do things in your stead. So one of the examples that I posted on my X is that I went to LinkedIn and I said, hey, find me, and basically I went to the homepage of LinkedIn. Not I didn't go to like the request page and said, find me the most important incoming connections on LinkedIn. And this browser, this is a browser that has a model inside. I'm not sure what browser. It found how to go to the incoming connections thing, and then it just like looked through each of their profiles and basically found me the top interesting incoming connections. And then I said, hey, accept all of them. And then it went one by one and hit the accept button. And this is in my browser. It's not an extension. It's not something. It's built in the browser system. Folks, this is like the vibe browsing thing, and it's super cool. I want to show a live example here while this does the LinkedIn stuff. Because as folks know, we prepare really hard for for ThursdAI, and we have like a bunch of notes, and I want to see if it understands the context, but I also want to do some actions here as well. Okay, so here's my notes. I have the notes here for my co-hosts, and I have the notes here for the guests as well, and I want to add like oh yeah, okay. It shows me the most important connections from that I have on LinkedIn. But let me start a new thread here for folks who are watching. On the left side, basically in the open tab, I have the notes for ThursdAI. On the right side, I have this assistant, and I want to make sure that Eli Bakuch, who was here before, and Mattia Atzeni, who was also here before, are both in my LinkedIn. I'm going to keep using LinkedIn because I don't know if they have X. I want to make sure that they're both in my LinkedIn presence. So I will say, find out the LinkedIn accounts for the guests of this week's show and send them a LinkedIn request. Basically, there's a bunch of agentic stuff here. It needs to understand what the show is. Basically, it understands it from the context. It needs to go and find them on LinkedIn. It needs to figure out the right ones, and then it needs to go and like send them a friend request. And you can see this kind of thing happening here. And this model can absolutely do this. I don't know. This is a browser, not a model. Can absolutely do these things for me. And so you can see that they have a little preview. It found Elie. Elie is going to send them a connect request. Let me zoom in here. Yeah, Elie got a friend request from me. I don't know if it's gonna send them a personalized invitation or not, but yeah, it sent them. Oh, and now it asks me like, "Hey, Alex, we're about to send them something," and it suggests a message that I can edit and say, "Big fan of your work. Love to connect. Follow your insights." No, so this is Elie. Thanks for coming. I'm gonna edit this to the show. And
this
then
is
continue.
huge because white browser is really the great term considering how you are working with an IDE, white coding, and this is for so many more people because not everybody is a coder, but everybody is browsing.
Yeah, folks,
and
absolutely.
So many things you do on your browser every single day. So many things, and you have computer use, you have agents, and so on. But like, they're all kind of nearly getting there, messing up. You need to look into them. That thing is deeply integrated into the browser, and this is what you see here. I mean, that's the difference. This is why they ship a complete browser, because of the deep integration with the model. And they absolutely crushed it. It's like the cursor moment where for the first time you have a new editor. And everyone was a little bit confused. Why do I need a full editor and not just a plugin? And then you get the deep integration of Cursor, and it all of a sudden makes sense, and everybody's using it because it works really well because of it. Now we get it for the browser for the first time, and it's going to be a war, like a war of browsers now, like we had wars of code editors.
Yes.
Absolutely incredible move.
The browser war is the original kind of technology war, and then Mozilla Firefox was there, Opera was there. There's a bunch of them, and then
Netscape, yeah, absolutely.
And then Internet Explorer. Like folks who are on the older side remember all this, and then Chrome basically won. And I don't think that the Chrome is going to get behind here, folks. They have the project Mariner, which is a Chrome extension that can run the browser, and they already said at Google I/O that they're like planning to build in Mariner into the browser. Chrome, the next version of Chrome launches with like Gemini or Gemma Nano, and so I'm pretty sure that Chrome is not going to stay behind here. But there could be a place for a leader here before Chrome stabilizes itself, and Chrome has an incredible base of folks, and so I think that Perplexity is a very well-positioned company, and also we have rumors that OpenAI is also working on a native browser that's also going to do some stuff for you, folks. And OpenAI obviously has Operator, and OpenAI obviously has been building computer use models. They call them QA, computer use agents, and they're going to have this. LDJ, you sent me a link for one cool demo. You want to walk through the demo while it plays for folks who are listening?
Yeah, sure. So here she's just telling it to pull up an exhaustive list of email newsletter subscriptions, and then basically just guiding it through which ones and which types they would like to unsubscribe from. It just automatically sifts through them. Like how with a lot of different emails too, there's like different processes you have to go through to actually unsubscribe. Like there's not really any singular simple format that all of them follow for unsubscribing. And so yeah, I think it's very helpful.
This is for those rogue subscriptions that don't send the standard unsubscribe thing where you can just unsubscribe in Gmail. Yeah, this is cool. Folks, so basically any task that you can have in your browser. Here's the benefit though, on top of just models that you can automate yourself, blah, 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 blah. For me, this is the big benefit that will end on this. This browser is logged in as Alex to all of the stuff that I need to do. So for example, I get a lot of the content that we show you here on ThursdAI from X, right? And I have stored them in bookmarks. I have a very standard web agent like task benchmark almost. You can call it the Alex benchmark, where I ask it to go to my folder, bookmarks folder, specifically for ThursdAI on X, scroll through the tweets only from this last week because we talked to you about the previous ones, right? And then go into each one of them, summarize what's going on there, and put them in some notes for me to go, prepare before the show. None of these agents have been able to do this. Perplexity Comet is the first one to get very, very close. It failed on this one last step, but it got very close. I'm very, very impressed with the execution on Perplexity Comet. Folks, you can try Perplexity Comet right now if you're part of the Perplexity Pro tier, which is like $200 a month, or if somebody invites you, I believe, and it's coming to everybody else like next week. I think they're like stabilizing some stuff. So very, very soon, you're going to be able to enjoy the agentic browsing system. And now I need to continuously realize which browser do I want as my primary one and which AI features, because I think Dia is still better at summarization. I still use Dia and I still use kind of its skills. So now I have 4 browsers I'm like running in between.
By the way, this opens a new door for security issues that we have to be very aware of. If you browse with AI to a site that is trying to inject some stuff, for example, or automation, I got erroneously banned from X for automation, which I didn't do. But this could also apply to using an agentic browser to, for example, post on X or do something there. So we have to see in the next coming weeks and months how that shakes out. So be careful a bit. But I really love that AI is getting even more useful all the time.
Alrighty, folks, last comment. LDJ and Yam, last comments, and then we'll land this plane.
Yeah, so just on the note about browser wars and OpenAI getting involved, it was actually confirmed, I believe, either by Bloomberg and or Reuters that OpenAI poached some of the original Google Chrome team, some of the original creators from Google. And so that's really interesting. And that was, I want to say, like at least 6-9 months ago. So it seems like they are actually working on this for a little bit now. Yeah.
Last comment.
You guys are sleeping on Perplexity in general. It finds stuff that none other AI can find somehow. I don't know how. I'm just putting it out there. I think it's a great product overall. I'm sure I didn't try the browser yet. I'm sure it's great. I'm sure they crush it. Absolutely going to try. And I really, really want to see if it's going to catch with like massive usage and just we're going to see people using browsers automated like we see editors automated, which is pretty much widespread already. I just want to see if it's going to catch at this moment, or maybe we need to wait a little bit. But absolutely crazy. Amazing release.
Alrighty, folks. So this is it. We're a bit over 2 hours and something into the show. It was an incredible week. It started kind of like a little bit slow, but then as always, this week's pick up, and we had multiple guests on the show. We had Eli Bakuch, we had Mattia, and we had a friend of the pod, Maxime Lebon, also from Liquid, dropping breaking news on us immediately before the show. The show was co-hosted by Wolfram Ervin, Wolf Yampel, like LDJ. I'm your host, Alex Volkov from Weights and Biases. We have a hackathon coming up, loo.ma/weavehacks. Please join. If you're in the SF Bay area, you're going to be able to win prizes up to $3,000 for the first prize, plus a RoboDog. And super cool, we have scooters. We have a bunch of swag. On the show today, we had tons of fun, a bunch of open source releases, and it's always great the weeks when we get a King LLM from Kingmaker. So Grok 4 was an absolutely banger release this week. If you missed any part of the show is recorded for your convenience and is posted as a newsletter. And maybe I'm going to use the RekaVision stuff as well for this. The show is recorded and for your convenience and it's posted as a newsletter and as a podcast on every podcast platform. You can subscribe to this at sub.ThursdAI.news so you won't miss any part of the show. Thank you so much for listening. The best way to support our show is to go on all of the podcasts where you listen to the podcast, just give us 5 stars and share it with a friend or two. It's going to be very appreciated. The more we grow, the better information we can bring to you. So thank you so much, everybody, for joining the show. Everybody who joined our live stream yesterday. We had, I think, over 15,000 people tuned into the live stream yesterday for Grok 4. Everyone who joined on today, I think we're nearing 2,000 folks for the live stream today. And thank you, co-hosts, as well. And thank you, everybody who was a guest here. The show wouldn't be possible or fun without you. With this, we're going to see you next week. Next week is Thursday, July 17th. And it's going to be an incredible show. I'll tell you why later. But besides this, thank you so much. For those of you who are coming out to San Francisco, I'm looking forward to seeing you very, very soon. And meanwhile, go and have fun with Grok 4. And we'll see you guys next week. Bye-bye.